I sometimes get asked why I like foreign films, why I watch a lot of foreign films, and I mean at this point it just doesn't even register with me. Just foreign films from my own country just kind of all blend in. But there's many reasons why I watch foreign films. One is to explore art, to see art from all over the world that I think is very unique, and I don't want to miss out on just because I might not speak the same language. It's to connect with people who live nowhere near you, who live all the way across the globe. It's to experience different cultures and different people. And while I say different cultures and different people, the real reason I love foreign films is because they're not so different. I like watching these films because I get to see the differences, but I watch them for the similarities. One of the first films to really exemplify this for me was Persepolis, which was an animated film, came out in 2007, based on a graphic novel. It is a graphic novel memoir written by Marjane Satrapi. And perhaps some of you already know why I'm talking about this because recently Marjane Satrapi passed away, unfortunately. And Persepolis was a big hit. It resonated with a lot of people. And again, that was a really pivotal film for me in wanting to explore stories and wanting to explore people who I thought I would have nothing in common with, but really showed just how wrong I was. The story of Persepolis tracks the real life story of Marjane Satrapi and her childhood up to her adulthood. It shows her perspective, her living through the overthrow of the Iranian Shah, the Iran Iraq War, the rise of the Islamic Republic. It is a great historical film. It is a perfect film to understand the history of a country, which anyone living outside Iran, or especially anyone living sheltered here in America, should definitely know, should definitely learn about. But it all comes from the perspective of a character, a woman who just feels so real, feels so. She feels like someone you've met, but she also feels just amazing at the same time. She is funny, she is outspoken and rebellious, she's tender and emotional, but she's also very hard and blunt sometimes. She's very mischievous and troublemaking as a young child, but even later into adolescence and adulthood, even. That definitely transformed into a new rebellious young soul, young artist, an Iranian punk, if you will. A voice that we truly desperately need. And I think we can all see a bit of ourselves in this character, someone who is at unrest with their country and their nation, but someone who also has a tumultuous relationship with it. Marjane Satrapi's death really shocked a lot of us. I don't think any of us were really expecting it. Her husband died almost a year ago. I think more than a year ago, if I remember the date correctly. And her family stated that she died from overwhelming sadness, mostly due to her husband. But they can't help but feel like it was also more than that. Given her story, given her the accounts that she gives in Persepolis, she struggled with depression for a lot of her life, and a lot of that is due to a lack of her identity. There's a scene in the film, in the graphic novel, where she slumps into this deep, deep depression where she can't even move, she can't even get up out of bed for days. And, I can't imagine that this is an easy thing to shake, if she even shook it at all throughout her life. The fact that from her childhood in the 70s up till now, the 2020s, for 50 years, Iran is still struggling. It's still struggling to break free of its own theocratic oppression. It's struggling during this giant distracto war that Trump is waging. The fact that the whole world just seems. It seems very hopeless at times. it feels like it's just getting worse and worse. And honestly, I get it. Dying from sadness, dying from overwhelming sadness. Hell, that might be how I die. I don't. This is someone who dedicated their life to women's rights, to feminism, to fighting the regime of the Iranian Republic. She was constantly protesting, constantly propping up other artists with voices, with similar voices, and voices that should be heard. She was dedicated to art, to statements, to liberation. And as someone who has gotten a lot more involved in that recently, um, it's it's taxing. It's not fun. It's fucking frustrating and exhausting and tiring. It sometimes feels like the work you do doesn't matter. And me and a lot of the friends I volunteer with, I'm sure we feel this way. Marjane Satrapi stated that the intention of her graphic novel was to show the Iranian people that they were not alone. And that is the purpose of art. That you are not alone. Whether you're Iranian or American or whoever you are, art is there to make you feel less alone. It is also to raise voices and to make change. Marjane Satrapi is a shining example of that. She is maybe one of the best examples we've had in the past few years, in the past couple decades. And that is how an Iranian woman made a connection with a white American guy all the way on the other side of the globe. And that's why I watch foreign films. That's why I consume global art. If you haven't checked out Persepolis or any of her other work, I have to shamefully admit that I have not experienced anything else she's done besides Persepolis. But please check out her work when you can. Now is a perfect time, especially for what's going on in Iran right now, for this revolution they've just had and this war. They've had a crazy history, and educating yourself on it is very important. Rest in peace, Marjane Satrapi. Thank you for your work. And to anyone watching, you're not alone. And please watch or read Persepolis.